You've been performing for a long time. The meetings, the after-work drinks, the break room small talk, the thing where you ask someone about their weekend and actually listen to the answer, even though by 4 p.m. you are running on absolute fumes. You've built this whole internal system just to survive a workday designed for someone else. And nobody at work knows. From the outside, you look fine. Thriving, even. From the inside, you've been counting down. Not to retirement exactly, but to the part where nobody can make you attend another team building exercise ever again. Here's the problem. The retirement number they gave you, $2 million, was built for someone who actually likes the team building exercise. Someone who, the day they stop working, immediately starts filling the calendar back up. Cruises, golf clubs, group tours. The whole 60-year-olds laughing on a kayak life you see in every brochure. They priced that life, then handed the invoice to everyone, including you, who just wants to be left alone, and whose retirement, it turns out, costs a lot less than they told you. Introversion isn't a disorder. It's just how some people's energy works. You spend it around people, you recover it alone. Simple. The problem is, the modern office was not built for that equation. At all. So every workday, you're running a system designed for someone else. And you've been doing this for, what, 10 years? 15? 20? And the retirement number they gave you assumed you'd want to keep running it even after you stopped. Here's what actually happens to extroverts when they retire. And I say this with no judgment, just how their wiring works. They panic. Not week one. Week one feels like vacation. But around month 2, 3, something breaks. The house is too quiet. The days have no shape. And they start to realize their entire social life was being quietly funded by their employer. The colleagues, the team lunches, the Friday drinks, that was their whole world. And now it's gone. The job wasn't just a job. It was their social infrastructure. And now it's gone, and they have absolutely no idea what to do with a Tuesday. So they join things: golf club, book club, travel group, volunteer committee, pickleball. Apparently everyone ends up at pickleball. They rebuild the structure from scratch, because without it, they don't know who they are. And the entire retirement industry was built around that person. The $2 million number, the cruises, the experience economy, all of it priced for the extrovert who lost their world when they clocked out. Now, the other kind of person retires, and they exhale. Not the performed, "oh, it's so nice to finally relax" exhale you do at the leaving party. The real one. The one that's been building since 2015, remember? First Monday morning. No alarm. Nowhere to be. Nobody to perform for. House is quiet. And it is fine. More than fine. It's the thing they were working toward without ever having the words for it. Except they were told they needed $2 million to get there, and they're not sure they have it. So they keep going. 5 more years. Maybe 10. And that right there is where this gets expensive. Actually expensive. Not emotionally, in dollars. Which is kind of the whole point of this channel, so let's get into it. Okay, real quick, I need to do the YouTube thing for 15 seconds. Hit subscribe. Not for me, for the algorithm. That button is literally how this reaches the next person sitting in a parked car at 4 p.m. running on fumes. Help it find them. The 4% rule. Quick version. Pull 4% of your retirement savings per year, and historically, you won't run out of money over 30 years. So, $2 million gives you $80,000 a year to spend. If you're the extrovert retiree, honestly, that math tracks. Cruises aren't cheap. 4 trips a year adds up. Country club, dining out twice a week, the calendar full of paid activities. But that's not your retirement. You've never wanted that retirement. You just spent 30 years sitting next to people who did. So what does your retirement actually look like if nobody's watching? Books. Your own kitchen. Maybe a garden. I don't know your thing. 1 or 2 people you actually like, on your actual terms. Not because it's Wednesday and that's when the group meets. Mornings with no itinerary. Walks that go nowhere specific. That embarrassingly simple quiet you've been stealing in 30-minute increments. Lunch breaks, parked cars before going inside, the bathroom at a party, your whole adult life. Okay, what does that cost? Real data on retiree spending consistently shows the lowest spending, highest satisfaction retirees share the same profile. Smaller home, minimal travel, almost no organized social activity, deep personal hobbies, small, tight circle. Annual spend lands between $35,000 and $50,000 depending on where they live. which means their retirement number, same 4% rule, same math, is somewhere between 800,000 and 1.2 million. Not 2 million. Not even close. And I know some of you just felt something move when I said that, because 800,000 is a number a lot of people in their late 30s and 40s are genuinely approaching right now. Some are already there. They just, and this is the part that gets me, they just had no idea the finish line was that close, because nobody ran their math. Nobody ever said, wait, given what you actually want, what's your number? And why would they? The advisors, the fund managers, the whole experience economy, none of them profit from you deciding you have enough. They profit from the gap. The $2 million number keeps that gap wide. It's not a calculation, it's a subscription. And a lot of very tired, very introverted people have been paying into it for decades without realizing there was an opt-out.
Okay, so wait. There's something nobody in this conversation has actually priced out. We've been talking about the retirement math, but what about the career math? The cost of the performance itself, not what you'll spend after, what you already paid getting there. What did 30 years of faking it actually cost you? Studies on introvert-extrovert workplace dynamics show that introverts in extrovert-normed environments, basically every open plan office ever built, burn out faster, take more stress-related sick days, and are significantly more likely to make major career pivots specifically to escape the social load. Sometimes lower-paying roles, sometimes freelance, sometimes they just quit with nothing lined up. Every one of those decisions has a dollar amount on it. You just never got the itemized receipt. And then there's the visibility problem. Workplaces over-promote extroverts, not because they perform better, the research doesn't support that, but because they're more visible when promotion decisions get made. The drinks after work, the hallway conversation that somehow turns into someone's name in a meeting. You skipped some of those. You had your reasons, but some of those skips had a cost. A project that went to someone louder, a promotion that came a year later than it should have. You'll never know the exact figure, but it's not zero. It's never zero. Actually, hold on. I don't want to blur two things. I'm not saying work was miserable. Some of you genuinely like what you do. The exhaustion isn't the job. It's the container, the performance layer on top of the actual work. Different problems, but the energy still costs what it costs. So you've been paying an introvert tax your whole career. In burnout, health decisions, earnings you can't trace back. And then the retirement industry handed you a bill priced for someone who didn't pay any of it. Someone who actually liked the container. So what do you actually do with this? Tonight, one thing. Open your notes app, whatever you use, and write down what your actual life costs. Not the brochure, your life. What does a month look like when nobody's telling you what a good retirement is supposed to look like? Real numbers. Rent or mortgage, food, healthcare. That one is real, especially in the US. Don't skip it. Travel budget if you genuinely want one. Books, tools, garden stuff, your thing. But don't add the social infrastructure you never wanted. Add it up. Multiply by 12. Divide by 0.04. That number on your screen, that's your actual retirement number. Not theirs, yours. Then open your retirement account and look at what's in there. Right now, see how close you actually are. Some of you are going to have a moment with that because the gap between those two numbers is going to be a lot smaller than the one you've been carrying around in your chest. Every year you work past your actual number is a year you spent building a life you were never going to live, not playing it safe. A year you paid for a cruise you were never going to board. The reason none of this was obvious is that the people managing your money genuinely need you uncertain. An uncertain person keeps contributing, keeps working, keeps paying fees, doesn't fire their advisor and move everything into index funds and go quietly read in their garden for 20 years. Nobody's writing brochures about that person, but that person is winning.
There was a comment on the video that made me want to make this one. A guy, law enforcement, 42 years. He wrote, "I'm reading this directly because it's perfect. I've had more than enough of people. I started donating time to dog rescues. My wife and I are both happy as hell with our minimized involvement with humans. We're peopled out." 1,558 likes on a retirement video. From people who've been waiting their whole working lives for someone to say that out loud without framing it as a problem. The financial industry looked at that man and calculated a $2 million number. He probably needed half, maybe less. And I wonder, I don't know, maybe he worked 5 extra years chasing a number that was never built for him. 5 years of alarms and open offices and mandatory team socials for a retirement he was never going to live. Nobody ran his real math. Nobody told him that wanting less, genuinely wanting less, not settling for less, was actually a financial advantage. That the quiet life was also the cheaper one. I don't know what your number is. I don't know how close you are. But I'd check. Tonight, actually. Because the number in your head was built for someone a lot louder than you. Worth checking. This is Breaking Money. See you in the next one.